Okay, welcome to this episode of Metal Talk TV. Today I'm joined by the Welsh wizard James Kennedy, author, singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. Hi James, how you doing?
Great, man. Yeah, how about you, man? Thanks for having us, Steve. It's good to see you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I'm doing good. I think we're doing all right. So your recent album, Make Anger Great Again, came out at the back end of last year. We covered that extensively on Metal Talk. Anger. It's a great heavy alt rock album, yeah, that's pretty relevant even now, especially with COVID times. Yeah. How does it feel to get your anger out there and get people marching against all the bad things that are happening?
Well, I'm really I'm not really an angry person, you know. I get angry at stupid stuff. Like I get angry at the Wi-Fi, you know, if that goes down. I've smashed a few Wi-Fi routers up in my time, you know. But outside of that, I'm quite a chilled out kind of gentle going guy, you know. But yeah, it felt good to get that album out because I was pretty pissed off, you know. I wrote the album before before COVID, so it was about Boris and Trump and Brexit and all that shit. So it felt good to kind of get all that stuff out onto the record, you know. So now, yeah, I'm back to my normal calm self. It's like musical therapy for me.
Cool. Well, you've seen off Trump, yeah, and I guess we're stuck with Brexit. So
Yeah.
there's plenty of mileage in Boris to
Oh, I think so. Yeah, there's plenty of comedy yet to be had with Boris. You know, he's he's like a walking sketch show. But yeah, I mean, Trump is like when I put the first video for the Power came out just before the U.S. election, and YouTube took it down initially. They wouldn't put it up there. Facebook wouldn't let me run any adverts or anything, paid boosts or anything like that on there. Because they said it was politically insightful this close to the election. So what I did instead to try and get the word out there about the video and the new song was that every time Trump tweeted, I would comment with a link to the video in there. And it got 14,000 plays or whatever, just literally just off the back of that, because YouTube would have it on the site, but they wouldn't let me promote it on the site or anywhere else. So thanks to Trump, he actually did the bulk of the legwork on promoting my single. But now he's gone and he's banned from the platform. So, you know, that scuppered my promo plan.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Twitter, there's plenty of opportunity for people to let off steam on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these
Piers Morgan.
days, yeah, exactly. So these days, with like the people are maybe suffering from a bit of news burnout, where a lot of the TV news shows and things like that are
Yeah.
concentrating on COVID and missing a lot
Yeah.
of the more important topics, So
Yeah.
I think there's still opportunity for you to rally the troops, especially on Twitter.
Well, I want to get out there, man. This is the problem, you know. It's like when I wrote that album, like I said, it was before COVID, so it's like this is a live album. You know, the idea was to get out there and tour this record with the kick-ass heavy rock band behind me. You know, so that was the whole intention, because this is my first kind of official solo album. I've
Yep.
done solo albums in the past, but it was always as a side project to the band that I was in, Kaishira. So this is my first, straight out the gate solo album. I haven't been able to do a single date for it, so I'm chomping at the bit, ready to go. So yeah, I mean, promoting a record is hard during COVID, but thanks to people like yourself, who've been great supporters of the album and the book, that's been a real help. But I mean, I feel like I've done as much as I want to do in the house now. I want to get out there and play this fucking thing, you know.
Cool. Yeah. You were talking about assembling a touring band. How's that going?
Good. Yeah, I've had loads of interest in that, but again, there's no dates or anything yet because everything's kind of hanging in the balance. So yeah, I mean, there's a band there ready to go. As soon as we get the green light, I'll be booking some shows, hopefully. But we don't know what it's going to be like yet. We don't know how long it's going to be until that happens, or what the live circuit's going to be like. So, it's ready to go, but when that'll happen, who knows?
And when you look back on the album now, do you take the kind of right, it's done, dusted? Yeah, you're still happy and proud, or do you think that with the extended COVID break, you might have looked at things a bit differently?
No, I love it, man. I still feel exactly the same about it. So I'm just I'm trying to kind of like keep my cool. I'm keeping the album there. It's out now, so I can't sort of like take it back or anything. So I'm just kind of like sit on it and just wait until we can finally get out there and do some shows and give those songs what they deserve, loud in a sweaty rock club, rather than me talking about it on Twitter or something.
Well, we should be good for gigs. Certainly middle latter part of the year. I mean, I don't think many of the festivals will go ahead, but certainly kind of the larger clubs and things like that, we should be good with that. And it is a great album. You mentioned The Power, which is a cracking track. I was really into The Solace of Sickness, which was kind of epic, and it talks about struggles with society in general, doesn't it? So can you tell me about that song, where that came about?
That one was just I've struggled a lot in the past with mental health and depressive episodes and things like that, and I talked about that quite exclusively on my previous album, Home, which I had severe sort of like mental burnout after the last European tour that we did with Kaishira, and that solo album, Home, was all about sort of like a journal, really, of my period with like immense depression and things like that, and coming out the other side. So I kind of explored all that, and Solace and Sickness is sort of about that sort of area again. It's sort of like exploring the idea that society tells us that there's some kind of version of ourselves that we're all supposed to kind of measure ourselves by, in terms of our beauty or our happiness level or our success or our wealth, and these societal values that make us all feel like shit, basically. So Solace and Sickness is kind of like, do you know what? Yeah, fuck it. I do get sad. I do get angry. I do get depressed. I do feel insecure. I do wish I was better at this, but you know what? That's me, and fucking deal with it. So it's sort of like taking ownership of our weaknesses and our so-called flaws and that society tells us we've got, and just saying, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, my main flaw at the moment is maybe my COVID hair, but
it's a good look.
The headphones keep it down, like, and struggles as well. Yeah, that was probably my favorite track on the album. Can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, similar vibe. I mean, it's a very political album. Apart from the two tracks you've just mentioned, I think were probably the two on there that aren't overtly political. Struggles, again, was sort of like I talked throughout the whole record about all the things that are wrong with the world, politics and society and the economy and all that sort of stuff. And on Struggles, I kind of wanted to bring it back to why that matters. These things matter because they affect real people's lives. I wanted to, in Struggles, I kind of wanted to write a song that was about us, how it affects us in our daily life. And some of it's autobiographical. There's some of myself in there, and there's some bits in there that I see in my friends and the people around me in society. Just like how life grinds you down sometimes, just the relentless fucking dirge of it all, So Struggles is kind of about that, just trying to stay strong and keep your head up and keep doing your thing, despite the barrage of crap that life can sometimes throw at you.
Cool. And it was kind of the latter part of last year. It was a double James Kennedy whammy, wasn't it? Yeah, because apart from the excellent album, we also had the Noise Damage book, which I thought was an absolutely fascinating read. How long were you thinking about telling your story?
Not at all, really. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I've got a copy of it there in case you wanted me to, whip it out for any reason or whatever. But I'm just looking through it.
You should do, because I've only got the digital version. So
there we go.
Feel free, whip it out.
You have the physical thing. I'll send you one. Cool. I was just having a little read through it because I haven't seen it in ages, and I was thinking, man, I can't imagine writing that now. I don't know what motivated me to do it. I can't remember the first day that I sat down to start writing it, but I wrote the whole thing in like 2 months, really quick. Every day I was on it, and within a month of doing that, I had a publishing deal. And I never would have imagined when I wrote the thing that I would see it on the shelves of my local Waterstones, but that's the way it went, And I think what happened was, when I look back, Kaishira broke up in December 2018. And I started writing the book literally about 2 weeks later, January 2019. And by March, it was done. So I think I was just in a kind of reflective place in my life. You know, the thing that I'd spent the past 15 years of my life doing every day was now over. And yeah, I think I was just looking back over everything that we'd done, and, you know, the adventures and the screw overs and the highs and the lows. And I think I just wanted to kind of make some sense of it and put it all down. And I've literally just started doing it for my own cathartic reasons, I think, and for fun. And I think as it started to turn into what felt like a book, and there was lessons in there and experiences and insights and things that I'd learned along the way, I thought, actually, yeah, you know, I should finish this and actually make it a book. So it kind of became a book when I was about halfway through it, really. Up until that point, I was just writing, you know.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it really kind of splits into three places, doesn't it? I mean, the first thing that kind of sucked me in, yeah, was the problems that you had with hearing loss when you were younger, you know.
Yeah.
That's all cool now. You're still coping with that fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've never used like hearing aids or anything like that. I have 40% hearing loss in both my ears, and I've got constant, really loud white noise tinnitus in my left ear. And I've had all that since the age of 10, when I had 3 pretty heavy duty operations. I had tumors basically in both ears. And I had to have, this ear was operated on twice because it came back. So yeah, unlike most of my peers, my hearing loss and tinnitus is actually surgically induced rather than as a kind of battle scar for rock and roll. But you know, yeah, I'm lucky in the sense that I'm used to it. I don't know life any different. Like a lot of my friends now are getting tinnitus in older age, and they can't switch it off because, you know, it's new to them. But for me, having that buzz there all the time, I don't know any different. It's always been there for me, so it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, cool. That's good news. That's good news. And then obviously there's the kind of rise and working with Kaishira, you know, and you probably became an expert at dealing with setbacks and things like that, which then leads to the 11 tips, yeah, that every new band should read. You know, that's pretty spot on. Is that do you think it's more of a warning to everyone, or an act, you know, don't be crazy and just go and get a proper job, or is it an act of inspiration?
Well, I feel like there's quite a lot of, you know, bad stuff in the book that happens, and I wanted to be brutally honest about that, because rock and roll memoirs, and, you know, memoirs in general, it always gives you all the sex, drugs, and the rock and roll and the good times and what a bunch of heroes we all are. But, you know, I genuinely believe that only about 30% of that stuff is true. You know, the mythology of rock and roll is an industry in its own right. It's all part of the package, and I love all that stuff. You know, I've got my superheroes just the same as everybody else. But those stories have been told, you know, and it's not the reality for 99% of the bands out there who are carrying their own equipment up staircases in the rain and driving their own vans and living on sandwiches and sleeping in car parks. You know, so I wanted to tell that story, which is my story, and I believe the story of, you know, most bands really. So yeah, I mean, you know, there is a lot of brutal reality in there, but at the same time, I feel like what I tried to get through in the book as well, and I hope it comes across, is that the reason that we keep putting up so much crap is because it is so awesome. You know, it's the thrill of the ride, it's the camaraderie, being out with your mates, it's that half an hour on stage, you know, living your dream, and some loud, sweaty, you know, buzzing with adrenaline, you know, half an hour of living the dream, you know, and that makes it all worthwhile. I mean, like, you know, most bands don't make any money, most bands break up, and most bands get screwed over, and a lot of it is, you know, painful and, you know, uncomfortable and getting ripped off. But there's just something about it, man. It's a drug, it's in your blood. And I tried to be balanced in how I tell the story. I wanted to say, yeah, it's awesome, and it's you know, it's kind of unquantifiable magic of rock and roll, but at the same time there's a lot of shit that comes with it, and this is just the truth as I've experienced it, you know. So I hope that it's an honest, balanced telling of the rock and roll reality.
Yeah, I definitely think it's balanced. You know, there are kind of good things that happen. You know, so it's not a total tale of misery, is it? You know, there's good
Yeah,
things that happen, which do kind
yeah,
of balance it out. You know, but you always kind of the more you get into the book, you always kind of feel there's always something around the corner, though. You know?
yeah. Was even like when the book was being edited, um, I would describe something like when we stayed in Toronto. We stayed at that hostel in Canada's #1 award-winning hostel. We stayed there, and I remember that very fondly. You know, I thought it was funny when I was telling that story. And you know, me and Matt, the bass player from Kaishira, you know, it was like the best time of our life over there. We were living in absolute squalor. The place was like a slasher movie. It was awful, and so I describe it, and then I say, "Oh, it was the best week of our life." And the editor said to me, "Are you sure? Because it sounds like it was fucking awful." But that's the funny thing about it, is like when you're a musician, just that half an hour on stage makes everything else
Mhm.
okay. You know, I've slept in the front of a van for a month straight with dirty towels and t-shirts, gaffer taped over the
Yeah.
windows in a heat wave in Europe, you know, with a gear stick in my back, living on sandwiches and loving every second of it. Not that particular situation, you know, but
Mhm.
the whole experience of doing it, you know, coming back broke, you know,
Yeah.
and in
Oh, yeah.
pain. But
Yeah.
man, you just can't put a price on it, you know?
No, and it is that sort of half hour or hour on stage, yeah, that really backs it up. I mean, we probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I took about 20 odd people over to Holland. Yeah, we did a gig out there, and I had two minibuses at Eindhoven Airport ready to pick the rest of the band up, yeah, and all the hangers on, yeah.
Yeah.
But due to overstaying in the bar at Stansted, yeah, only one person managed to get on the plane. So, and the first gig was that night, yeah. So they hit Amsterdam, which is like right the north of the country, yeah, about 5 o'clock in the evening, yeah, and had to get a train down. So it was literally about half an hour before the gig. Yeah, they actually turned up. Yeah, so it was like, no, you're not going to the hotel. Yeah, let's get set up and go. You know, and it was just a nightmare. I was stressing out and stuff like that. You know, but sort of come 11 o'clock, when you've had a couple of lagers after the gig, yeah, it's just the
Yeah.
best time ever, isn't it? Yeah,
Oh, you
so
don't care.
I
It makes
perfectly understand.
it's the strangest thing. You know,
Mhm,
everyone will take a day off work, you lose
mhm,
money. Oftentimes when you're like, you know, starting out, you're playing for free when it's
mhm.
costing you money to do it. You travel 4 hours or 5 hours to somewhere to hang around for ages, you know, eating sandwiches from the petrol station. You know, you often get treated like shit by the headlining band or whatever, or the promoter, you know, just for that 20 minutes or half an hour on stage. And it
Yep.
just makes it all okay for some reason. Then you get home at like 5 in the morning, you know. It's the strangest thing, but it really is. It's a drug, it's in your blood. And I think that, yeah, it makes it all worthwhile for me. Another thing I tried to sort of like in the last chapter of the book was I tried to say, you know, talking about failure and stuff like that in a rock band. It's like most bands don't succeed. You know, that's 1%. So what do you get out of that journey when there is so much hardship and struggle, and very few kind of, you know, moments of ecstasy along the way? How do you make sense of that when it's taken up a chunk of your life? And I think that for me, when I look back at it, the success and the reward was those stories that you're talking about, those memories. You know, you look back and you think, man, you know, whilst I was in Switzerland, you know, screaming down the phone at our manager who screwed us out of 6 grand or whatever, you know, I could have been like, I could have been sitting in an office, bored out of my mind, you know,
Yep.
regretting the fact that I never took a punt. I never took that gamble. You know, that would be a heavier regret to live
Mhm.
with than looking back and thinking, oh, I made a few mistakes and, or whatever, you know, because like, you know, you can't put a price on those adventures and those memories, and you know, they're the rewards for me.
Yeah. No, I absolutely 100% agree. You know, and it's a great experience. Yeah, and it's a great adventure that you talk about in the book. And you know, all that knowledge you've gained, yeah, how's that helping you now with regards to writing the next album? Are we going to see another album from James Kennedy out soon?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna hang fire. I've got to actually write another book first because I've got a literary agent now off the back of this one. The book did way better than I ever imagined it would. I mean, just getting it published was like, you know, that was beyond my expectation. The fact that it went to #1 on 3 different Amazon charts at the same time and was like the second best-selling rock biography after Roger Daltrey for a few days,
Yeah.
was just kind of it took on the whole momentum that I had nothing to do with, and didn't see coming. So that's kind of taken over itself a little bit. So I've got this agent now, and I'm being pushed to write a second book, and so I'm keen to kind of keep that momentum going. So I'm going to focus on this getting some solid ideas down for a second book first. I think with the album, the musical side of my career, I think I'm going to wait until I can get out and tour Make Anger Great Again first before I start putting anything new out, because it's going to break my heart having 2 albums that I can't tour, so
Yeah.
I think I'm going to wait till I can get this one out of my system first, and then I'll be excited to do some more music again. So I'm gonna bide my time on the music front.
Can you leak any information about the new book? Is it a continuation of the story, or are we going down the fiction route?
I've noticed it's non-fiction. It'll be a music book. It's going to be about a lot of the same issues that are discussed in Noise Damage, but it's not going to be connected to Noise Damage. And I can't say too much. I can't say too much.
That's a fine tease. That's a fine tease. So you'd say your hopes for the future really rally around being able to do gigs, getting the band gig ready, and writing the book. Yeah.
I think so, man. Just continue doing what I'm doing. It's crazy where the time's going. I mean, hopefully, as you mentioned, in a few months towards the end of the year, gigs are going to be a reality again. That's going to roll around before we know it, the rate things are going. So I mean, it's been a great year for me with the album and the book and all the success that's had and stuff. So I'm keen to keep that going, and if that can involve getting out and doing some shows, I'll be a happy man.
Cool. And massive luck with that. COVID, that's obviously kept you locked in. You mentioned Kat a lot in your book. You've been getting under her toes and annoying her. She's keen to see you back out on the road for a bit of peace and quiet.
I was going to say it's the other way around, I think. She'd be glad to get me out of the house, I think.
Fantastic. So desperately look forward to seeing you play. I think everyone's looking forward to gigs. I think lots of the venues will be booked up, so hopefully you get yourself down in London or something like that. And we'll have a beer or something like that after show.
The beers are on me, man. Honestly, my Steve Ritchie favors tab is quite extensive now, so I can't wait for you to cash that in.
Cool. Yeah, don't worry, I can certainly drink more than 2, so that's fine. Look, the album's brilliant, and I really love the book, and I'm really happy that you're up and running and happy with the way it's gone. And we wish you all the best of success, continued success with that, and we're desperate to see you out on the road.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate it, man. And thank you for all the support. It really means the world. And the second I can get out, mate, those guest list tickets and those free beers will be waiting for you.
Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. James Kennedy, thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having us.